means it's time to talk with our former governor, former senator, and a very good friend of mine, George Allen, joins us on Fridays here on News Radio WRVA. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good smoky morning to all of y'all.
Thank you so much. Okay, I got a lot of stuff to get to and not much time, so I just want to get your reaction. I've called this a kind of an un-Trumpian speech. Instead of, going on and on, I thought, boy, maybe primetime address, he's probably going to go an hour and a half. It didn't go that long. No wild accusations. He just kind of put it out there that, you know what, there has been some stuff going on with China. Here's the proof we have. You guys go find it. What did you think and make of what we saw last night?
Well, I would have liked more of a discussion and informing the people about the war in Iran and how that's affecting our economy. I'm glad in the beginning he talked about the benefits of tax cuts, the stock market's up, his drug prices are down, the Trump accounts, I think, are great for young people, primarily, not just financially, but I think it'll help economic literacy of people, and that our borders are secure. All of that was good. Now, as far as foreign influence is a legitimate concern, and foreign influence has been a problem for a long time, whether it was the Soviet Union or these days Russia, China, and what China tries to do to Taiwan is the same sort of influence. And it's exacerbated by social media and these bots, fake accounts, and they try to influence our country. And these foreign influences will support some of these apocalypse, climate apocalypse cult people, the green and reds together, harming, productive, useful, practical energy policy in our country and a variety of things. And they like to foment dissension here in our country. And then that's from our enemies, whether it's China, Russia, Iran, or any malign interests. And so I think that's all legitimate to be concerned about. And we know that China stole, I think it was in about 2014, where China got all this Office of Personnel Management, hundreds of thousands of government employees' records from OPM, Office of Personnel Management. So the question is what is the evidence of it? The fact that we may have vulnerability doesn't mean that results were changed in any elections. I think that states should demand clean voter rolls. The states run elections. Voter rolls ought to be clean for anybody who has moved or people who have died. And that's especially important in a place like Virginia and other states that send out these absentee ballots. Heck, Susan and I have already voted in the Republican Senate nomination by mail, and you get them automatically. And a lot of states do that, Nevada, California, and they send these ballots out automatically. And you want to make sure that people who are on these voter rolls, whether they vote in person or by mail,
they actually live there.
Actually live there and are still alive. And then the other thing that needs to be is stopped, and we don't have it in Virginia, but some states allow this harvesting where people go around to senior centers or wherever and they collect ballots. That's so wrong, and that should be prohibited with these mail or absentee ballots. And of course, they had those drop boxes in some places during the pandemic, and there should be none of those. Anybody voting, if you vote by mail, you vote by mail, but don't drop off in these drop boxes with no
one watching over them.
Scrutiny,
right?
Yeah, no scrutiny of who's doing it. So, I know that the President's for the SAVE Act, and I think that was his primary goal of this, is to get people, and maybe folks are emailing and calling their senators for the SAVE Act. And I do think most people are for photo ID. That's one thing. That's one aspect of it. I think most people want to, I believe most people would believe that the people voting ought to be citizens of their state, their locality, and of the United States.
Well, now that's just crazy talk if you're talking to people in California. I have a friend of mine, his daughter went to college, and then she transferred to another school, and then she moved a couple times to different apartments. when all her mail was forwarded, she actually had 6 ballots forwarded to her house. 6 different ballots forwarded to her house. So the ballots are just kind of handed out like candy over there. I did want to, if you don't mind, can I take you down this rabbit hole for just a moment? I was watching Donald Trump. It was a different speech. He was standing behind the yellow backdrop. He wasn't in the Oval Office, which I was kind of expecting, or that one hallway where they usually have the president walk down the hallway to give a speech. This was a little bit different. But I was thinking of Ronald Reagan. Reagan, the great communicator, was always able to capture the moment. Donald Trump stayed on his teleprompter, which was a little unusual for him. That's why I said it was non-Trumpian. But I was going to ask you to compare and contrast the way that Donald Trump communicates versus the way that, and again, I'm a Reagan Republican and how much I revere the man, how much he would communicate and how he did these things.
Well, both of them are good communicators and good motivators in their own way. And Donald Trump is a successful businessman, promoter, and so forth. Reagan had a different style. He's looked upon as a Westerner rather than obviously someone from New York City. But Reagan's start was in the Midwest. That's his life until he moved to California was in small town Dixon, Illinois, and in the Midwest. And there's a greater humility, more of a humility rather than a braggadocio to it. Reagan was comforting in the way that he would talk. I think if he were bringing up these threats, and what China has done, these allegations of what China had done, he would have said, and here is what we need to do to China. He wouldn't be calling Xi Jinping, the president of China, a great man, as President Trump does all the time. Then they're going to have some big conference, state visit. He'd say, all right, we're because of this, we're going to have to sanction China. We have these vulnerabilities. Here is what we are going to do to make sure that our elections are safe. It would have been much more specific, and I think he'd have certain ways of showing what the problem was. For example, with the budget issues and how big the budget was. He had to stack 3 feet high of what the budget was. And don't tell me we can't cut. So he'd have props. He would have had some better evidence, I think, to bring the point home. Reagan, they said he was a great communicator, and the reason is I think because of his manner, his style, his sincerity, his grasp of the issues and how to present it to the people. One way, hey, Rich, by the way, here's a great way people could see Ronald Reagan. This Tuesday at doors open at 5:45 at the Bird Theater, there's a movie called Reagan. And this is the director's cut, which is an interesting way of looking at it. But I've seen this film, Reagan. In fact, Dennis Quaid plays Reagan.
Oh, wait a minute, this is the Dennis Quaid Reagan movie.
Yeah, this is the Dennis Quaid Reagan movie. The doors open at 5:45 Tuesday, July 21st at the Bird Theater there in Richmond. People can contact Christine at virginia.gop. Christine at virginia.gop. And you and Riggs can be my guest to it. Prior to it, they're going to have questions and answers with former Attorney General Jason Miyares and me, which will be fun. Before they show the director's cut of this movie. It is a great movie. The director's cut, I think there's about 10 minutes of difference.
Really?
From of it. But it's a great movie, and you understand Reagan, how he grew up, his life, how he got into the broadcasting. He started in radio, doing baseball games, and ultimately in movies, and governor of California and president, and how he dealt with the Soviet Union. And it is really a great movie. You understand Reagan. It's fun. I'm chairman of the Reagan Range Board of Governors, and for the premiere of it in Dixon, Illinois, in this old Dixon Theater that Reagan once used for a premiere of one of his movies in the 1940s, they had high school bands out. At any rate, I gave a belt buckle, a Reagan belt buckle, and a Stetson hat to Dennis Quaid on the stage prior to the showing of it. And it was just great. And people were laughing, they were clapping, and there were tears in this movie. So if you've seen it, see it again. This
Yes.
is the director's cut. If you have not seen it, I really encourage folks. It's the doors open at 5:45. Rich, I think people will really appreciate it, understand history, understand Reagan, understand leadership, which is so essential right now in public service.
Oh, that's outstanding. All right, so I'm on vacation next week, and Riggs and I are actually looking for things to do while we're on vacation. So we're going to go out to Yorktown, I think, tomorrow. We're going to go to the Marine Corps barracks on Friday to watch the silent drill team. And on Tuesday, we're actually looking for something on Tuesday. So we will definitely be there with you. So that's, oh my gosh, you just made my vacation.
That's good. That's good. And the smoke will be out of here by then. And well, you'll love Yorktown too. Well, at any rate, and folks really, I encourage folks to come and listen to Jason and me, but more importantly, watch this movie. It's especially in the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. This is perfect for you because you'll see where we secured our independence.
Yeah, no, this is outstanding.
5 years after, and persevering and fighting and showing that peace through strength still mattered. Yes, the Declaration of Independence was a brilliant document of individual rights and God-given rights from our Creator, and that we wanted to govern ourselves, but we needed the French fleet to beat the British fleet at the Capes of Virginia to keep Cornwallis trapped and ultimately surrendering at Yorktown. And so then you come and today, even today, the United States is stronger and more effective with allies rather than without allies in achieving whatever our goals are. So this will be perfect. It'll be perfect for history and for your edification to modern days.
I love it. Oh, by the way, I looked it up. If people want to RSVP, find out more information, you can email events@virginia.gop, events@virginia.gop. Sir, thank you very much. I will see you on Tuesday.
All right. See you on the trail ahead and have a great weekend, Rich.
Thank you so much. Governor George Allen joins us every Friday here on News Radio WRVA. Super Dave, my vacation plans are now perfect. They're going to go see the Reagan movie and listen to Governor Allen talk about that. That's outstanding. That is great. All right. Let's see. It's 8:47 this morning on News Radio WRVA. Let me remind you very quickly that today's program is brought to you by our friends at Loan Pronto. So I know a lot of you have, well, you keep going back and forth. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? I've got a low interest home rate that I do not want to touch because if I refinance, I'm going to lose that 2, 3, 4% interest rate that I've had forever. I can't do that. But I need to get some money out of my home simply because these credit cards are crushing me. I keep paying them off. I keep paying off the minimum, and they never seem to go down. So what am I going to do? All right, we've got you covered. LoanPronto.com. Here's the number,